So, I guess this takes us into the discussion of Wireplumber. Then I'm sure we can keep talking about that side for quite a while, but my understanding is Pipewire doesn't by itself do any sort of internal routing, and that's sort of what the point of the session manager is, or at least one of the points of it.
Yeah, so Pipewire supports creating links between nodes, right? This is what the functionality of Pipewire is. Create nodes, which are the basic units of audio processing or video processing or whatever it is, and then create links between them, which allow the media to move from one side to the other.
Mhm.
But Pipewire will not create those links automatically for anybody, right? So when an application connects, it just sits there. There is nothing linking it to your device or your other application, whatever it is you want to do.
Mhm.
Now, if we look back, Pulse Audio, it had built-in rules to do that. When you were connecting to Pulse Audio and you were asking to play audio to the default output, Pulse Audio would automatically link that application to the default output internally. And so you had this experience where the application connects and it suddenly is able to play. With Pipewire, that's not true. So if you're not running a session manager, connect to Pipewire, nothing happens. So there is a need to have something there that implements this logic of, okay, I have this new node here. What do I do with it?
Mhm.
And that's why Wirepluber was created. And Wirepluber has, by default, it has the same logic as Pulse Audio. So that's how we started implementing things. We thought, okay, we want compatibility, so we have to basically bring the same user experience from Pulse Audio into Pipewire. So yeah, it does similar things. Like if a new application connects and it wants to play to the default output, then Wireplumber gets notified. It looks at that application node. It sends a command to configure it to the appropriate channel setup and sample rate setup and all of that. It has to be configured initially, and then it creates links to the device that it needs to go. That's the main thing that Wireplumber does. It's not the only thing though.
Okay.
So Wireplumber will also, first of all, manage the devices. So when Pipewire starts, again, it doesn't do anything. If you start Pipewire by itself, it's an empty graph. There's nothing. Somebody has to create the nodes for the devices. And that's where Wireplumber comes in again. So it will load the plugins that talk to devices like ALSA devices, Video for Linux devices, for your camera, Bluesy for Bluetooth devices, all of these things. Are you still there?
Yes. Can you not see
I
me?
think it's frozen.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Usually I'm the one with problems. uh, hello?
Hello? Yeah.
We
Are you
good
still
now?
there? Okay, yes, it was frozen for a minute. I don't know where you cut off.
I'm usually the one with tech problems. This is new to me. Are we all...
I don't know. Is it my connection? Maybe
I
it
don't
could
know
be.
what happened. But that's fine. So you're talking about how Wireplumber manages your devices.
Yeah. So I said about how Wireplumber basically is the one that links your applications to devices. But then Wireplumber also does more things. So one of the things it does is it manages your devices. When Pipewire starts, it doesn't do anything by default. It's an empty graph. And then if you need to, like, obviously you need to see that your device is there. So Wireplumber is the one that creates the instances of the plugins that will talk to the devices. Your ALSA device your Video for Linux device for your camera, your Bluesy device for connecting to Bluetooth headsets. All of that is managed by Wireplumber. And then as soon as it gets notified about actual devices being there, it will create the appropriate nodes. It will select the appropriate profiles as well, taking care of remembering your preferences. So when you change your profile for a card, that's something that Wireplumber handles, and it also Wireplumber saves the state and restores it afterwards.
So restoring things like the volume level? Is that
Volume level, yeah. Volume level, both for the device and the applications. This is something that Wireplumber manages. Restoring profiles, restoring channel setups as well, and things like that. Another thing that it will also do is manage which one is the default device when you select it on your preferences. That's something that Wireplumber will also remember. And it will also select one appropriate choice when you first start up, when you don't have any other default saved on your state files. So it will select one default and it will manage. It will always keep one default device so that the policy always works. When you start an application, it will link to the default device. And something else that it's supposed to do is manage application permissions. So that's something new as well coming from Pulse Audio. In Pulse Audio, we didn't have access controls at all for applications. So basically, every application that would connect to Pulse Audio was able to change anything on any device, on any other application. It was able to do anything. And if it had a malicious intent, well, tough luck.
right? So
You
any
couldn't do anything.
application could just listen in on the audio, and it just nothing could stop
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it could listen. It could also change volumes. It could do crazy things like.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you could just suddenly throw it to 200% volume, and that's not pleasant.
Yeah, and then blast your speakers or something. Yeah. So in Pipewire, we have access controls built in by default. And that means that every client that connects, every application that connects, has its own set of permissions for each object that lives in the graph. So every other node, every device, every link, every port, all of them have permissions, read, write, and execute methods. So when a new client connects, Wireplumber has the ability to basically say, okay, what is this client? Is it allowed to access this and this and that, and apply the permissions. Now, at the time of speaking, this is not fully deployed yet, right? So we still don't really apply permissions. We let applications do whatever they want. We apply full permissions, but this is something in the works. We're working on it. We want to have a framework where the support layer is there. What we're missing is the Wireplumber policy, basically, to manage those permissions. And we want to have a system where we can say that, this application is, let's say it's a music player, it's a playback application, so it should have access to the audio output by default, but probably not access your cameras or not access your microphones or things like that, so that it cannot really do something unintentionally and change your setup there. Or if it's an application that you've installed from an untrusted source and you probably are using Flatpak or something similar to restrict it, then we apply even further restrictions unless the user chooses to lift them, right? So that's the idea. That's where we want to go with that.
I can see how early ideas might miss some like weird use cases. Like a example that I have is something I actually do. I route the audio from my capture card to my speakers, and that's a relatively normal thing to do. But I do know there's some people that have some weird audio setups that, because there's no permission controls on anything, technically work. Um, so I do
Yeah.
expect that once that is like properly rolled out, there's gonna be some regressions that appear that aren't intentional, but are use cases that weren't entirely clear because, people do weird things when they're allowed to do weird things.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Um, it's true that people have weird setups and they do crazy things with their setups. And we constantly get reports about things that people want to do uh, that are not
Good ideas.
like no, they're good ideas, but they kind of clash with policies that we
Sure.
have set up. And so sometimes we roll out a new policy and people are just confused. They are like, oh, this is a bug, doesn't behave as it
Right.
should. Recent example, we had somebody contributed a module that when you're playing music to your headphones and then you unplug your headphones,
Hmm.
uh, either physical or Bluetooth, and then I think the main idea was for Bluetooth. So let's say you have your Bluetooth headphones, you're
Hmm.
playing music, and you take them off, you unplug them, you turn them off, and that module basically goes by default and pauses your player so that it doesn't blast out of the speakers.
Yeah, this is a pretty normal thing that phones do.
That's a pretty normal thing phones do, yeah. I know also other operating systems do it. Like
Mhm.
I use Mac OS as well. I know Mac OS does it that way.
Mhm.
And it makes sense for a lot of users. But yeah, when we rolled it out, there are some people that were saying, oh, what's going on? When I unplug my speakers, it pauses my player. This is
Mhm.
a bug. And they started reporting bugs to the player initially. Like it was the player's fault initially. But no, this is a normal thing. It's a policy that we rolled out.
Mhm.
Same thing happens with people that use speakers um, on their monitors. So they have an HDMI connection, they
Hmm.
have speakers on the monitor, they want the audio to go there by default. And there are other people who have an HDMI monitor that has speakers, but they absolutely don't want audio to go there. So there's
I use
different.
Wireplumber to literally disable that node. I do not want to see it.
Yeah, so you are on that group, and there's the other group that they want that route to be always the used. So they expect when you plug a monitor, they want the audio to go there,
Mhm.
and there is no good solution. We offer options basically, but there's no good default that we can say it satisfies everybody.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's my point there being that unfortunately, Wireplumber is. Well, it's a policy tool, right? So we have to make up good defaults
Mhm.
for a lot of people, but it won't be good defaults for everyone. And the only thing we can do is provide options, and we
Mhm.
try to provide options where it makes sense so that people have a way to easily switch or change.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So I hope that this won't disrupt your setup, but I'm pretty sure we can find a way to add options to make sure that it doesn't break
Mhm.
completely what you're doing.